everyone. We're here with Chad Miller of Horizon Home Inspections doing a pre-drywall inspection on a new build. And Chad, kind of give us an overview on what you do at a pre-drywall inspection.
Well, I think that for pre-drywall, there's several things that you look at. From the initial inspection, which we typically do for people, is starting at the foundation. And so we may come out right before they start to put any wood on, and we start to look at the foundation to make sure the foundation is solid, make sure that all the what's called a sure void, all the gaps are in the right spots, make sure the beam pockets are in the proper place, make sure there's some things that just are working well. And that is a pretty quick inspection. Normally we're here for 35-40 minutes looking at structure. And then from there we get to the pre-drywall, which is where we're at today, and we'll go through and kind of look from there, from the foundation up at that point, and look for all the electrical, making sure that they're running lines in the proper places, that they're properly protected in case somebody drives a nail through the wall, they're not hitting a piece of electrical wire. Same thing with plumbing. A lot of times people move in and they get in their bathroom and they realize they've got a small leak back there because the water line wasn't properly protected from a drywall screw. So we look at all of that. We look at fire blocking, which is very important to make sure you don't have air movement from one floor to the other, pulling that fire from the bottom up. We'll look at all those. We'll look at trusses. We look at all of the plates that tie all these things together, because there's a lot of tensile strength on those. And if they're peeling off or they're broken, obviously that's a structural concern. And so we get the engineer that manufactured them out here to take a look and tell us if it's good or if they need to be replaced.
So you mentioned we're obviously at a pre-drywall inspection. What other inspections do you do?
So foundation first, pre-drywall, and then we'll do one right before closing, which is we call the final inspection.
Okay.
That way we kind of wrap it up for the customer to make sure that everything that we've talked about from the ground up is done. And then we do another one right at their 11-month warranty, just to make sure nothing's changed in that amount of time. And if they wanted to do several of those inspections with us, then we typically kind of price it accordingly to do all those together. One of the reasons why you want to call in your own independent inspector is because when the county guy comes out, there's going to be a county electrical inspector, there's going to be a county structure inspector, there's going to be a county, plumbing inspector, and several different guys. And my experience is that those guys will take a sample number of houses. So they'll take 5 houses and they'll sample this one and that one and that one, and they'll sign off on all 5. So they spend about an hour and a half doing 5 houses. We spend an hour and a half to 2 hours doing 1 house. So you get a little better, a closer look.
Yeah, sure. Well, that makes sense. I actually had an experience where we had somebody that was getting ready to close. All they needed was the certificate of occupancy, and the builder went down to the city, gets the certificate of occupancy, and the builder wants to close. Meanwhile, the homeowner couldn't actually even move in because the concrete was ripped up in front of their house, and yet the city had no idea that was the condition. So it definitely makes sense to have you in and just verify these things literally down to the last minute potentially.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of gets that. The one thing that I always want to caution people on is that when you get to that closing table, the more stuff that you can get them to fix leading up to that, the more success you're going to have with this house, this investment that you're buying. If you kind of push it till afterwards, it seems like that process is a lot longer to get things finished.
I think a lot of people also think that being that it's new, maybe the sewer line is going to be brand new. But then obviously it's a construction site where trash, debris might get in there.
Yeah.
Would you recommend doing a sewer scope prior to
I
as
do.
well?
Yeah, for sure. A sewer scope's always a good one to do right at that final inspection before move-in date, right before closing, simply because of what you're saying. There's a lot of construction debris that happens, and things sometimes inadvertently get down into that sewer line, and we just want to make sure that we catch it at that point, so before you move in you don't have issues. And if you don't have a chance to do it before closing, you need to do it before your 1-year warranty is up, because at that point it's all on you.
Appreciate your time coming out.
Sure.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good seeing you guys.
All right.